Seattle's Ballard-Interbay industrial area is an economic engine for the city, the state of Washington, and the Pacific Northwest region. Designated as one of 2 industrial zones within the city limits, the area is known to city planners as the BINMIC, or the Ballard-Interbay North Manufacturing Industrial Center. It's a thriving, round-the-clock workplace that sustains family wage jobs and tax revenues far out of proportion to its geographic footprint. Extending along the Seattle Ship Canal and the 15th Avenue Transportation Corridor, it is characterized by clusters of businesses that offer what amounts to a smorgasbord of customer choice.
Well, one of them, of course, is our maritime group of industries. It's not just one, it's a group. It's many different fishing industries. The money they harvest, mainly in Alaska, bringing it back here to spend. Another group are our small manufacturing and industrial economies. Ballard-Interbay is very often where they start and where they grow. And a third is our high-tech group. We're seeing that emerging, and our industrial zoning supports that as well.
The area supports thousands of high-quality, family-wage jobs. At its production facility at the north end of the Ballard Bridge, Elstrom Manufacturing employs up to 125 people in 3 shifts, working 7 days a week.
We have one of the most sophisticated manufacturing plants for woodworking machinery in the United States. We do have one of the largest routing capacities, which enables us to produce about 80,000 to 125,000 white thermally formed doors a month. We have skilled people. We have second-generation employees working for us also.
GM nameplate on 15th Avenue Northwest counts a who's who of Fortune 500 companies among its client base.
GM Nameplate is a manufacturer of custom electronics, graphics, touch panels. We also make large format graphics for everything from wrapping buildings to fleet vehicles to buses. We do contract manufacturing of electronic assemblies and all sorts of different types of printing. This is the headquarters plant as well as our largest manufacturing plant. Here in Seattle, we have a little bit over 500 people on the payroll. Worldwide, we have approximately 1,000 people.
Western Pioneer is a lifeline to Western Alaska.
We run 5 vessels, depending on the season, one about every week, and they make the round trip to Alaska in about a month, up to Western Alaska, taking northbound whatever the villages and towns in Western Alaska need: food, clothing, building supplies, fish processing materials, packing materials. And on the southbound, we bring back frozen fish, cod, halibut, pollock, crab, the whole gamut.
Like other BINMIC firms, Western Pioneer relies on the Ballard Terminal Railroad to get its goods to market. Once threatened by abandonment, this short line spur has been rescued by the stakeholders who use it. Not only is it a cost-effective tool for the shippers, it takes some 1,400 truck trips per year off of city streets.
It really makes a difference in competing with your competitors in your same line of business. If you have rail service and they don't, or even worse, if you don't have rail service any longer, but your competitors all do, because for long distances and heavy bulk materials, it's like driving with a handbrake on. If you don't have it.
For decades, the Fremont Boat Company has propelled commerce up and down the Seattle Ship Canal. The bustling waterway keeps Eric Freeman and his crew busy round the clock.
I did my first tow job by myself when I was 10. Beat my dad by a year. He started when he was 11. Yeah, it gets so busy some days that there's so much traffic and guys backing out and turning around and either going to sea or coming back and fooling around. You almost can't get through it. It gets so busy. It's no sleep some days, and we're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Got the phones piped through to our cell phone, so you just call one number and you get one of us around here.
Near Pier 91, the Immunex project is bringing a new high-tech look to the face of Bin Mick industry.
And it's being relocated from downtown Seattle, and Seattle feels very proud that they were able to keep Immunex in city and has gone to great lengths to see that it's going to be successful.
The most visible components of Bin Mick industry are the shipyards and marine terminals that line the working waterfront. Here, high-paying jobs are plentiful. The Pacific Fisherman has been a Ballard employer for generations. The yard services as many as 15 vessels at a time.
We have about 30 different union employees right now, supporting 5 different unions, and we keep employees for a long term here. The average employee's been here, I would say, at least 10 years. These are, I would have to say, at the higher scale of the union employees relative to pay scales, and they're making good wages and supporting their families.
The Bin Mick concentration of ship fabrication, repair, and supply capability lures vessel owners from around the Pacific Rim. Each visit brings new money to the Seattle economy.
This is a critical mass of industry here in this Ballard-Interbay area.
Well, it's definitely the Marine Center for the Northwest. There's several shipyards. It's the home base, preferred home base for a lot of the fleets.
There's expertise around this little stretch of the canal here that's probably unmatched anywhere I know of.
Foss Shipyard services the company's own substantial fleet of tugs and barges, along with workboats, fishing boats, and research vessels. A routine haul-out is referred to on the docks as a shave and a haircut.
We may haul 40 to 60 commercial fishing vessels a year, and on average for routine dry dockings could run anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 in revenue for that, for dry docking that vessel.
When the yard undertakes a major conversion, the work carries a higher price tag.
Anywhere from $500,000 to $2.5–3 million.
Across the canal, Western Towboat is putting the finishing touches on its newest seagoing tug.
We're going to be towing rail barges between here and Whittier, Alaska with this boat. We have about 18 full-time shipwrights and steel workers, and they've been with us, most of them, in almost 20 years now.
Although Puget Sound commercial fisheries have declined dramatically, Seattle's fishing industry is thriving. Today's vessels are larger, and their harvests occur far from home. They spend their working lives on distant waters throughout the North Pacific. In a very real sense, Ballard is an Alaskan fishing port that just doesn't happen to be located in Alaska. It generates substantial revenues.
Just in fuel alone for these type of boats, we're probably talking in the neighborhood of around $50,000 to $100,000 in fuels and other supplies. Food, you might be another $20,000 or $30,000. I estimate that every one of the boats that you see in the class of these 100 to 120 foot vessels, a minimum they spend $250,000 every time they come into Seattle, or at least on an annual basis.
Harris Electric Company supplies the electronics for the state-of-the-art fishing vessels that operate on remote waters like the Bering Sea. The term high-tech hardly does justice to their wheelhouses, trawl decks, and fish factories.
They're computers, they're not just machines. The big fishing boats you see, the fishing trawlers, their electronic packages are over $1 million apiece.
Built on Puget Sound and home-ported in Ballard, the Starbound is one of the flagships of Seattle's distant water fishing fleet. With an onboard factory tucked below decks, it produces the raw material for the fish sandwiches served at fast food restaurants like McDonald's and Burger King. Operating the 240-foot vessel is a capital-intensive enterprise.
Even just the fuel that we take on before each season, which is twice a year heading north, and probably about 120,000 gallons each time, so that's 240,000 gallons, and times $1 something a gallon, it adds up. And groceries, that's We figure around $12 a person per day, and there's an average of about 100 people on the boat. So that's $1,200 a day for 6 months. That's a lot of dollars just in groceries. And most of that is shipped from Seattle.
Many of the fishery resources off Alaska are at historically high levels of abundance.
We're in a very fortunate situation in a number of our fisheries, such as halibut, black cod, pollock fishery. The big factory trawlers have had a huge population of pollock for the last 15 years. They generate over $1 billion a year in the product of pollock. And most of those vessels in the factory trawl fleet, home port here in the Seattle area, they generate somewhere between $10 and $20 million a year per vessel.
This fishing industry has been healthy and thriving for the last 125 years here. It's going to be healthy and thriving 125 years from now.
One of the most profitable components of the industry is the longline fishery that targets halibut and sablefish. Dock 3 at Fisherman's Terminal is home to the longline fleet.
This typical vessel brings in about $600,000 to $700,000 in wages and maintenance to the Seattle area. It's moored here at Port of Seattle. And on Dock 3 here, there's about 30 of those type of vessels. So that dock is generating a little over $15 million a year to the Seattle economy in maintenance and wages.
Like their counterparts in other fisheries, Seattle's longline vessels operate on distant waters. When they're out of town and their slips are empty, they're making money. Ports up and down the Pacific coast are envious of Seattle's working waterfront and strive continually to lure away bits and pieces of the business.
The reason boats come to the Seattle area is because you have that critical core of suppliers in the Seattle area. And you have a railhead. Railheads are still very important. Any port would love to have the type of economy one of these boats brings to the city.
You see these boats sitting here and you don't see the direct connection between all the businesses and the fuel and the grub and the welders and the shipyards and all the supplies that are bought here. It's a huge, huge thing for Seattle and a huge thing for certain sectors of the economy in certain parts of the city, like here in Ballard.
For an industrial community that depends upon freight mobility, Seattle's traffic congestion is a life-threatening problem.
10 years ago, to take this truck down, pick up a load of diesel oil, and bring it back out to Ballard Oil would have taken about an hour a load. You could almost depend on it. The first load, when they closed the viaduct down, it took us 3.5 hours to get one load of diesel out to the plant. So you can imagine if you're making 22 trips a day, you can see what's going to happen if we don't do something about transportation in this city.
Seattle's regulatory climate is another challenge for Binmic industry.
Well, we've been waiting for a year just for the permit, just to do what we've been doing for 20 years. And you just sometimes wonder what could take so long.
The tremendous growth Seattle has experienced in the past decade has also driven up the cost of property.
We've had a steady escalation of cost. I mean, when I started in the real estate business, it was 75 cents a foot. Now you're looking at $35 to $40 a foot.
Another threat to the Binmic is the gradual encroachment of land uses and activities that are incompatible with industry. Today, the industrial zoning that applies to the Binmic and the Shoreline Management Act that restricts a portion of the waterfront to water-dependent uses has helped sustain the area's economic vitality. But the city must continue to maintain its economic engine.
Industrial land, once it's lost to industry, never comes back.
If it is too many pressure, we will go somewhere else.
I mean, do you want to be a working waterfront in this area? Do you want to have working men and women, or do you want to just have tourists and hot dog stands?
You know, we like it here. We want to stay here, and we don't want our property turned into a park. And
would like to continue to stay here, and we've made this our home for going on 26 years now.
And we've been here for 45 years. So we have grown up here, we have built the business here, and people know where we are. They like to come to the Northwest.